Tucker Carlson just said something on stage at Turning Point USA that might be the worst take on Bitcoin I've ever heard. It was so bad, you're going to have to hear it to believe it. So today we're going to play you the clip. We're going to break down exactly what's wrong with his argument. And most importantly, we're going to chat about what he's missing entirely. The real deep state plan to control you that people should actually be worried about. So buckle in, drop a like on the video. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your weekly session. I want to welcome to the stage co-host with the most, Mr. Nathan Fitzsimmons of Bitcoin Mentor. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm back. I'm happy to be back, sir. Did you see that Trump is basically handing out pardons like Halloween candy now?
I've seen that. I think he likes doing that. I'm a big fan of one.
Yeah, so far so good. One was great. The rest seemed like, there might be corruption in DC. I'm not convinced yet, but it could be the case.
Yeah. I know that Joe Biden also enjoyed pardons as well for family members. Retroactive.
Unspecified retroactive pardons. Great. Yeah. Total confidence there.
Exactly. Well, let's chat about bad takes, and let's chat about Tucker Carlson's bad takes. This is him at Turning Point USA, and he was asked about Bitcoin. This is what he had to say.
Nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was, the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. I grew up in DC primarily in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it, but you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. What is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Do I know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me, right? And nobody can explain.
So, okay, first off, no one can answer the question, he says. First of all, people can absolutely answer the question. Secondly, he said their answer is it doesn't matter. And he says it matters to me. And what he's misunderstood here is that when he hears it doesn't matter, he's thinking that they're saying it doesn't matter to them. But when actually technologically it does not matter. This is a protocol, right? This is a set of rules in which there's consensus that people are agreeing upon. And Bitcoin is open source. Anybody can audit it and see exactly how it works if they have the expertise. A metaphor for this would be if you had a time machine and you took a vehicle, like a car, and you dropped it back in the 1700s. The people would be probably a little bit mystified at first, seeing what it could do. But at the end of the day, they would be able to disassemble the vehicle and learn how the internal combustion engine works. And at that point, it does not make a lick of difference who invented the internal combustion engine. It still functions just the same. Everybody can see exactly how it works and benefit from that invention. And so the same is true of Bitcoin. Anybody can audit it, see how it works, and there's no control mechanism in it. You can actually clearly see that. Nathan, what are your thoughts here with Tucker?
Man, I have so much to touch on. I'm not even sure where to necessarily begin. First and foremost, I love what is that? That's a wonderful rhetorical trick that no one really ever picks up on, is it sets the table that you'd be ridiculous to disagree with it. Well, first and foremost, I've heard this sort of stuff before too, particularly because Bitcoin is the assembly of different components that kind of existed beforehand in a new way that was incredibly beneficial. And so I believe it was the NSA that came up with SHA-152 and then 256. And so I'll get that same sort of argument, oh, this was invented by the government, so it's probably controlled by the government. But one, you're right. Yes, you can go and audit it. And number two, it feels to me the same sort of thing as even to take from your car analogy, it's like saying that the carburetor was made by the Germans, so all vehicles are Nazis. That's kind of a ridiculous take. It's not really, the two aren't necessarily related. It's yeah, they came up with that, just like DARPA came up with the internet, but that doesn't mean they have control over it at this point in time. It's like saying that I don't know who invented chess or checkers, therefore I can't play, because there could be some backdoor in the game where they can always win.
Yeah, it's just so silly that an open source technology, again, I think he just surprisingly hasn't taken the time to bother to understand. I see people in the comments. I just rewatched the Tucker Michael Saylor interview. Well, I guess Michael Saylor was not super successful in helping Tucker understand this. Also, it's funny. He mentioned, "Oh, I grew up in DC with a government family," and then he goes, CIA. He didn't really specify what type of government his family was. Nathan, do you have any information on that?
I do. Believe it or not, Tucker Carlson's dad was involved in the CIA. And funny enough, Tucker Carlson did actually apply to be part of the CIA, but was rejected. At least that's what we're told. And honestly, I do believe that he was rejected. I don't think he's necessarily a planter completely, but still, like the whole thing is ridiculous. And the other part that really stood out to me was, I'm not going to invest in it. I think that's part of the misframing around it too. Like it almost sounds like he's treating it like a company, like a stock. Like, oh, if I don't know the team behind it, how could I possibly invest in it? This is savings. This is a value communication protocol. This isn't a company, right? You don't need to know the team. You need to know if it's a good tool for the job. And lastly, I did want to throw this in here. I love the analogy about the car. I don't even know if you meant to, but I think you just proved that Satoshi was a time traveler who came back and dropped this off for us.
I think so. Did you ever see the old, there's this old Reddit post from years ago, and it was somebody saying that they were a time traveler coming back in time to warn people against going on a Bitcoin standard, and goes on to describe the dystopia that has come to pass. It's actually pretty funny. We'll have to pull it up sometime and do a little read through and see how close we're getting. But the reason, part of the reason that we wanted to cover this today was, Tucker's, talking about, erroneously talking about the solution to a lot of problems that are already here or ones that are on the horizon. And these are very, very important problems that need to be addressed and need to be hedged against. And unfortunately, in advising a crowd of people to be worried about Bitcoin because he thinks it might be the CIA, which still would be irrelevant, he's putting people off of the solution to what's coming. And when I say what's coming, I mean CBDCs, and I mean government surveillance, which already exists, but like far worse than we've got now. I mean social credit scores, digital IDs, CBDCs, basically complete panopticon. So this from Wide Awake Media. Former Bank of England deputy John Cunliffe. I almost had a little there. John Cunliffe likens Britcoin, the UK's incoming central bank digital currency, to giving your children pocket money, but programming the money so it couldn't be used for sweets, which is a perfect analogy for how the government opts to treat its citizens like they're children and they can't make their own decisions. These new forms of money offer the ability for them to be programmed and released only when something happened. Let's take a listen to exactly what he had to say, because it is, I'm going to say, quite dystopian. So we'll bring it back here.
At the moment, the Bank of England, we issue banknotes, the notes that everybody holds in their pocket, but we don't issue any money in digital form. So when you pay with a card or with your phone on a digital transaction, you're actually using your bank account. You're transferring money from your bank account to somebody else's. A central bank digital currency, a digital pound, would actually be a claim on the Bank of England issued by us directly to the public. And these new forms of money offer the ability for them to be integrated more with other things through their software. So you can think of smart contracts in which the money would be programmed to be released only when something happened. You could think, for example, of giving your children pocket money, but programming the money so that it couldn't be used for sweets. There's a whole range of things that money could do, programmable money as it's called, which we can't do with the current technology. At the moment,
So, I mean, to paraphrase that, you could think of it as you give your citizens money, but you program it so it can't be spent on airplane tickets or meat, and until something happens, or if something does happen, we can restrict those uses, aka you're at a protest that the government doesn't agree with. We can restrict your travel, what you're allowed to buy, who you're allowed to interact with economically, and a whole bunch of other fun things. It's a little terrifying, and they're pushing hard. And this whole thing can be linked with digital ID. So digital ID, your digital identity that is linked with your payments and with many, many other things. They're pushing hard to sell this to the general population. This is in British Parliament, and them trying to make the case for digital ID to the constituents. Now, Nathan, remind me, what was the initial reason that they had mentioned for digital ID? The only reason?
Oh, yes. The only reason we need a digital ID is to combat illegal immigration, right? We don't want to have illegal immigration, guys. You don't like illegal immigration right now, so we're going to give you a digital ID. That's totally the only reason why we want it.
Yeah. Now, that point in and of itself is very interesting because it would seem that Poland has been quite effective without a panopticon in regards to their distaste for illegal immigration. And so let's take a look at how they're trying to sell it in Parliament here.
Automatically links to their school record. We will learn from the experiences of other countries, some of whom have had digital ID for over 20 years. Many show us just how transformative this can be. In Denmark, a graduate applying for jobs only has to log into a portal once, and their ID automatically links to their school records, saving them retyping their qualifications each time. In Finland, a parent can go online to register their children for daycare without uploading a payslip or putting in their salary, and the site automatically calculates the right fee. And in Estonia, a digital ID means that when you have a baby, you don't have to go to a local office to register the birth, or sign up for childcare benefits, or apply for nursery places. It happens automatically from day one in the hospital, so parents are free to focus on what matters most. Digital ID has the potential. We will learn from the experiences of other countries.
Yeah. So rather than just an immigration tracking tool, it is now, as they highlight here, applying for jobs, school records, paying for daycare, collecting your pay slips, birth certificates, claim benefits, apply for nursery, all of those things involved with your digital ID. And furthermore, they're not great salespeople here. Here's a post by Keir Starmer himself saying, hey, it's frustrating having to rummage around a drawer looking for old electricity bills just to open a new bank account. Digital ID will make our lives easier. Like the blatant condescending, like, don't you guys hate drawers? Because we're gonna, like, it's Homer Simpson in the comedy club yelling, don't you hate pants? Like, it's like, come on, man, we know what you're trying to do. And he says as much here, where he talks about how it will be linked to payments. And I'll play this one and then we'll have a little chat.
You will not be able to. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes, looking upstream to tackle poverty, conflict, climate change, issues that aren't just intolerable for those of us who care about inequality and injustice wherever it's found in the world. And that is why today
CBDCs, they'll solve climate change now and poverty. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, government money has very much been the cause of poverty and has been responsible for dropping quality of life across the board. I'm yet to see how it will solve climate change, but they know. Nathan, now you dug this up from earlier today. This is an interesting one from a post from a few days ago, but UK Bank starts monitoring carbon footprint of what you buy. NatWest have updated their banking app, so it will now monitor your carbon footprint based upon what you purchase. This will soon be tagged, of course, to your digital ID, no doubt. UK is going insane. So, like, let's take a look at this. Your estimated footprint is the following amount of kilograms of CO2. And then it shows like your bills, eating out, shopping, groceries, fun and leisure, health and beauty, home and garden, general. And it literally just lets you know, like, hey, you're destroying the planet. Maybe you should just go and die instead. like how, and we had this on when Gary was on last week, Nathan. You didn't get to see this, but
I did. I was in the cab.
Oh yeah. So there, like, this is a voluntary thing being rolled out right now, but carbon scores literally on sandwich packages hey, just so you, and this is the draconian thing about it. Eating this uses 8.1% of your daily dietary carbon allowance, as in like you're gonna run out. Do you want this sandwich, or do you want to go hungry a little bit longer?
Absolutely unreal. And it's so infuriating too. I hate that they always couch it in moral language too, like decent people. He said decent in there. Not to mention the fact that if you're concerned about climate change, so you want to reduce unnecessary consumption, then maybe get rid of all the goddamn debt, right? People are spending resources now. So the government currency is absolutely behind it. A few other things that stood out to me, like one, for example, too, I was looking at that list there quickly. And if there's 41 kilograms of carbon dioxide from eating out, I don't know why you're breathing so hard, but it's crazy. The other one that really jumped out at me is like, essentially the government, it really is a paternal relationship. The government already has the right to spank you, right? They already got that there. They got the monopoly on violence. But rolling out the CBDC, you're basically giving them the right to ground you and give you a timeout as well too. It is absolutely ridiculous that people feel the need or desire to want to, because some people support this. That's the crazy thing, right? Like I really worry about Canada, not because it's going to be necessarily be forced down our throats, but I think that a lot of people are like, oh, that is so much more convenient. I hate drawers and pants.
Yeah. And you mentioned Canada. This was just what, like was it today?
I think I saw this one today.
Yesterday. So this is a Services Canada trying to obtain consent for digital ID to access the account. So you can see this little checkbox. I acknowledge the privacy notice and consent to the digital identity verification consent section. So like, I mean, they're clearly kind of leaning into this, and it's no secret that the current Prime Minister of Canada, the recently elected, he was governor of both the Bank of Canada, so our central bank, and the Bank of England. And on top of that, he has previously criticized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. He said for their volatility, but gives huge support to the ideas of a central bank digital currency. And if you've read his book, it's horrifying, some of his ideas. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely coming. And, I do some work alongside the Human Rights Foundation. One of the people that is often there is the guy who created the CBDC tracker. So how many governments are actively, or in what state of development are central bank digital currencies for various countries. And so you can see the different like ones that have launched, if they're in pilot, proof of concept, research, canceled, and you can actually go and see. So like right now, digital Looney research, proof of concept, like it'll let you know kind of where things are at. Digital dollar canceled, Project Hamilton is something, proof of concept. So like there's so many different, the Peru CBDC. If you go to the UK here, the digital pound research, RS coin research, again, like the digital euro, again, research, wholesale digital euro. There's a pilot project. So you can actually go country by country. And again, in the Eurozone, it's in the pilot project. You can kind of see where things are in the state of the world. The digital ruble is in its pilot project. Again, we've got a lot of stuff that is happening everywhere, and it's very worrisome, and you need to be prepared. Not only just prepared for that to roll out, but also like you need to understand not only how to obtain and save in Bitcoin, but how to actually use it. Like you need to actually start putting these pieces together and seeing where the weak points are and preparing for that. Again, like, shout out to everybody here at the Bitcoin, the SAP market that we do here in Calgary, because that's kind of the beginnings of what we're doing that so that we can hedge against this. We can build a community that is, unshakable. We can lean on each other for the things we actually need and at least have a foot out the door of the existing system. So, if anybody's ever curious, like take a peek at examples of local communities that are beginning to actually live on Bitcoin and try and replicate it yourself. I think it's an an excellent goal to have. Any other thoughts here, Nathan?
No, I was gonna say just that. Like, if you're thinking of building something in your community, just go ahead and do it. Just do it. Organize with the other Bitcoiners around you. If you need input on it, like just tag us or something. We're happy to explain what's worked, what hasn't, because I think that's something really important in terms of backing up. I did also want to point out too that it looks like Iceland maybe was the only country on that CBDC tracker that didn't have anything on it. So great to see that not going forward in Iceland. I guess they maybe have to flee there. But the other one too is that this will be abused in so many unbelievable ways. Like, even first and foremost, like currently the central banks really only have interest rates and QE as terms of levers they can pull to manipulate the economy. But don't think for 1 second, if inflation is starting to go crazy, like think of all the things they've done to try and hide how bad the monetary system is. If they have the ability to, like, oh, if you're using this, this digital currency in order to buy, we'll say meat, because meat is going up in price too much, you're going to have an additional fee on top of it that won't be in the CPI basket, but to try to artificially lower the demand. They will absolutely use it, if not only to track and punish you, but to try and direct behavior to cover up for their own shortcomings and mistakes.
100%. Now we're gonna change gears here. We're gonna be chatting about you. You alluded to it. Trump is handing out some interesting pardons. So I was a big fan of the pardon of Ross Ulbricht, and it was amazing to see him finally returned home to his family, and that was a beautiful moment. This one, not like a super. I don't know. I'm not
a libertarian hero. This wasn't somebody who's like, oh my lord, we need to make sure we save this man from the tyranny of the government.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes me wonder if there's going to be similar pardons for even worse people down the line. But there's also an indication of what's being teed up here market-wise. And there's been some interesting back and forth between gold and Bitcoin as of late, too. So we're going to kind of examine where the U.S. government is currently sitting, what actions it's taken that are very interesting, and the dynamic between gold and Bitcoin, and what that could mean leading into the end of the year and the beginning of next year. So we're going to take a peek at that in just a moment. We're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. If you're enjoying the conversation, please do drop a like on the video. And if you're brand new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll be back in just 1 minute here. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. Debify is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Cold Card Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. All right, we are back in, and yes, indeed, former CEO of Binance, CZ, has been pardoned by President Trump. I am wondering why. Do you have any thoughts on this, Nathan?
No, like that's a rare occurrence. I imagine it has something to do with money in the background, or maybe wanting access to some sort of market that he has, or maybe we are about to see. Guys, don't do this. Okay, I got to choose my words very carefully. I was just about to say something. I'm getting a little asterisk at the beginning of it. Don't buy it. I wonder if we're about to see like the most huge pump of Trump coin we've ever seen pushed out by Binance across all platforms.
Yeah. Trump coin, Melania coin, all now with perpetual futures available on Binance US.
Don't forget that layer 2 Trump big hands, right? Like it's gonna get crazy.
It is something else. Those unfamiliar, CZ, he went to prison for 4 months in April 2024 after pleading guilty to violating U.S. money laundering laws. Binance also pled guilty and they were ordered to pay $4.3 billion after a U.S. investigation found it helped users bypass sanctions. Now, in general, again, like the whole money laundering sanctions and like, I think that rather than going after the medium of exchange, it's better to go after a criminal that does an actual crime. So like on the scale of things, I don't think CZ is like as bad as somebody like SBF, who literally just ran a giant Ponzi scheme and stole people's money and bought real estate in like the Bahamas with it. So like that's on a different scale. This guy broke the rules of the existing money system. So yeah,
the other bankers may have actually gotten Trump on the phone and said, "Hey, we're setting a really bad precedent. This is a pay to play sort of setup. None of us go to jail. Maybe let him out."
Yeah, exactly. They're ready to let things rip here, and I think there's a reason that they're ready to let things rip, and that's the U.S. national debt just crossed $38 trillion. I love this GIF.
I do too. I was thinking the same thing.
So good. Again, like it's crazy. $38 trillion. I saw a thing the other day, and it was one of those debt trackers, and they had bought an ad on like a bus shelter, and by the time it was printed and went out, it had gone up by 2 trillion.
Yep.
Like it was a 36 trillion national debt ad. And it's moving so quickly. And so like with that much debt, the repayments, just like servicing the debt, just paying the interest, is already one of the largest expenses in the entire country. And they have to reduce those payments. They need to lower interest rates. And right now, there's $7 trillion sitting in money markets. This is a tweet from Grant Cardone, who you just had on recently, did you not?
I did. I had him just before I left for the conference there. So just a couple weeks ago, a special episode came out on the Friday there. Had a nice interview with Grant Cardone. Lovely gentleman. It was fun to talk to him. I feel like he'd be great to hang out and have a beer.
I can see that. Yeah. So, I mean, here he is. He's talking about there's $7 trillion sitting in these money markets. As rates come down, that $7 trillion is going to go somewhere. So the reason there's that much money in money markets is because it's getting a decent return above and beyond what inflation is. But reportedly, exactly. And people know people that are managing money know that that's not really the case. And so that will begin to move. So he says, where is it going to go? Gold, Bitcoin, real estate, stocks. Yeah, like it's going to go to all of those things. And we have JP Morgan itself saying they're expecting the Fed to end QT, so tightening, within a week here, and rate cuts and money printing. Like this, that's what that equates to. You also have Standard Chartered. This is interesting, saying that people should be selling gold and buying Bitcoin, and that there's these rotations that are going to come because gold has exploded. Like the market cap of gold has gone up trillions, which is wild because it's already a large asset. And so for it to have gone up that much, is it like a lot of capital is flowing in there, and like that's countries buying, but it's also like the retail FOMO. Like we were playing clips of people lining the streets in various locations last week in line to buy bullion, like physical gold. Yep. And so it's getting bubbly, but we saw that bubble at least a little bit burst. Like when was that? That was a few days ago. Now it's, obviously markets are markets, they're going to flit around. But the interesting thing was on that day, we saw gold tank and we saw Bitcoin rally. And so this is where you're getting the talk of these gold and Bitcoin rotations. Like, hey, people, like gold gets bid up and then people rotate into Bitcoin because they think it's an opportune time. And so we see this kind of push and pull between the two. Now we have here, this is Bitwise. And Bitwise is talking about if there were a 5% capital rotation from gold over to Bitcoin, that would put Bitcoin somewhere around, $240,000 plus per coin. Now, I'm not going to say that there's going to be a 5% capital rotation from gold to Bitcoin.
No, it'll be more. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. but like just to kind of show what that type of rotation does, 1%, 2%, like you're doing $30,000 hops basically for every percent of rotation and allocation there. So it can move pretty quickly if a number of people sitting in gold say, I'm happy with my allocation here. Maybe I'm going to put a small allocation into, the gold's replacement. And I think that's an eventuality, whether or not it happens at breakneck speed or not. That's a totally different thing. Now, the other different thing in and around what's been happening in the markets, there's been this mysterious person shorting Bitcoin to like just so blatantly, like literally placing shorts on Bitcoin up into the very minute before Trump tweeted about sanctions on China,
Yeah.
and then immediately stopping, making like millions and millions of dollars. So this person clearly has some inside information. If it's not Barron Trump, like
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
I don't know who else it could be, but nonetheless, this person, this whale that's been shorting Bitcoin so much, apparently has closed out all of his shorts. And so that means that they're no longer betting on the Bitcoin price dropping. It's up to you to decide if this person has some inside information or not. But I think based on some of the prior bets that they placed and the timing of them, they've got a pretty good idea of what's happening in the background. Nonetheless, I mean, what's our takeaway here, Nathan? Like,
I got a few points. One, I just realized how profitable it would be to get the internship to handle Trump's Twitter account or Truth Social account. Like that would be the greatest job you could ever have. That'd be a lot of fun to play with. But I do love this job as well too. I did also quickly do the back of the napkin math, and it's if Bitcoin reaches the gold market cap, because don't forget that's constantly moving forward. Like we're getting there, we're going there. But as we continue to move, gold is continuing to move. So that would be a $1.37 million Bitcoin price tag on the $28.8 trillion value of gold. My big takeaway from this is that it's like the debasement trade conversation, right? In the last, almost feels like the last maybe year or 2 years, we've normalized the term fiat. That's starting to become part of like the zeitgeist. People understand that world. People are using it in everyday parlance. And I think the same sort of thing here too, where that we're seeing, retail getting interested in sound money, albeit gold, but that they're identifying the problem. And I think people forget like this can still rip with leverage, with long positions, with everything going on. It's going to bore everyone to death for a while, but don't sleep on it. Bitcoin still has that ability because compared to every other giant market, like don't forget, we're going after bonds, we're going after real estate. Gold is actually the smaller player here. This could move very fast at some point, as Bitcoin historically does.
Yeah, 100%. And there was a really good episode just the other day it was on Preston's pod, and it was Joe Carlson, Jeff Ross, and American Hodl, and they're just talking about like all the craziness in Q3. And if you get the chance, give it a listen. Love Preston's show. Obviously, I got to see him briefly in Nashville for a little bit for the HRF thing, so always good to catch up with Preston. But love these guys, love listening to them. So shout out Preston and all the gents that joined him there. Now, we are, again, going to change gears. We've got some interesting stuff coming out this week. There's brand new update to one of the most widely used hardware devices on the planet. That's very, very interesting. There's another update to one of the other most widely used hardware devices on the planet that I could do without.
Womp womp.
And then there's plenty of other things. I'm working on a video for a pretty phenomenal mobile wallet. And I want to chat about it just because I'm excited for the video when it comes out. So we're going to chat about all these cool things that are just coming up. Also, in what's becoming our favorite section, we've got a rock solid Canada sucks section tonight. Lots of dystopian vibes. So whether you're in Canada or you want to laugh with us at Canada and us for being here, you can join in for that too. So stay tuned. We're going to be back in just a minute. Again, if you're brand new to the show, thank you for being here. Make sure you're subscribed, but also make sure you drop a like on the video. It really does help. And let us know how you're enjoying it in the comments. We will be back in just 1 minute to let you know about all those new developments. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? Aqua Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. Aqua also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, Aqua is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download Aqua Wallet today. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With Nunchuck's Honey Badger plan, you get state-of-the-art multi-sig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. Nunchuck is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The Honey Badger plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, Coldcard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the Honey Badger plan. All right, we are back in, and I wanted to chat about this. Trezor, they just launched the Trezor Safe 7, or rather it's, I think, pre-orders right now. This is brand new. There's a couple interesting things, and I figured me and Nathan could take a peek at the website. Again, nobody really, other than people that were at the launch event in Prague just a few days ago, nobody has really gotten hands-on with this yet. So let's maybe just give a quick peruse through, take a peek, and just give our initial thoughts on what they've got here, and just go through it. I mean, like, I will say the newer Trezor devices with like kind of the aluminum, I like the feel of them and the touch screen. It feels nice. Like doesn't feel cheap or anything. It feels like a pretty decent device. So what's the difference here? So they've got their secure elements, dual secure element, it looks like. And this was a new thing for like the Safe 3 and the Safe 5 that they rolled out. Before, they did not have secure elements. And so that was, one of the detractors, which means without a secure element, somebody with physical access to the device and the know-how could extract key material. So unless you had a passphrase, you might be hooped if somebody got a hold of it. Another big update, this is wireless. So you can now actually use Trezor with mobile, which previously was kind of possible with Android. And I think, was it probably the Blockstream app and maybe one or two others, but it was like, are you going to bring your USB-C cable with you and plug it into your phone? Like, the kind of a pain in the ass. So that's a welcome thing. Now, how is it connecting, Nathan? Do you know?
I do, over Bluetooth.
Yeah. So it's not like a true air gap. That's still a connection where, the phone can prompt your device and say, hey, there's a transaction, it's time to deal with it. Whereas a true air gap is you are explicitly telling your device, I have a transaction, here it is. Now we're going to do something. So if you're an air gap maxi, Bluetooth does not fall within that. But if you're just looking for functionality of being able to use the mobile, then that's going to be big for you. Quantum ready security. Now I looked at this and I was like, okay, what does that mean? It seems that it's ready to be able to do updates of the device, like the firmware and everything, in a quantum resistant way. So that doesn't mean like Bitcoin quantum ready anything. It's more just like the software updates. So yeah. Okay, secure element we did, quantum ready. Yeah, there we go. Future proof your cryptos.
Bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's my
And there's my biggest issue.
There we go. Trezor Safe 7, quantum ready architecture, the only hardware wallet capable of receiving quantum secure updates against the threats of tomorrow. Okay, so all right. Wireless, we covered. That's Bluetooth. Screen looks nice. Gorilla Glass. Haptic feed. I do like that when you press something and it's like gives the little. That's cool. It's larger. And what else? There's something. Thousands of coins and tokens. Everybody who's excited. Thousands. I would recommend, if you're going to be using the Trezor, to install the Bitcoin only firmware right away, immediately. Okay, now the interesting thing here, and are they going to have it on this? The interesting thing here is in and around the secure element, and I don't have exact details on this, but this is probably the most interesting part of the announcement, is that their secure element is actually auditable. So it's apparently open source. So their secure chip, their secure element, is the world's first auditable secure element. So in one hand, if you've got, if you've got hardware that has a secure element, even if it's the rest of it's open source, the secure element by definition up to this point has been closed source. It's like a black box, and that's where your key material goes, so that it's segregated from the rest of the device. Here, what they've done is, rather than going to a third party, you getting a secure element chip and putting it in, they've opted to roll their own encryption and create this chip. Now, in practice, I think over time that will be great. In the early days, I don't know. I'm unsure, like, how battle tested is it? It's pretty new, and so like rolling your own encryption brand new out the gate, we're going to have to wait and see. So I don't know, Nathan, what do you think here?
I feel like I'm happy that's a step in the right direction, in the sense that, for me, like anything that I'm going to recommend in terms of products, like I try to just stay agnostic as much as possible, but I'm looking for open source, has a screen, secure element, Bitcoin only, air gap transactions, and reputable company. And the biggest hang up I had really with Trezor, if you're using that Bitcoin only firmware, was that I couldn't do an air gap transactions. You're right. Bluetooth is kind of like a gray area. I can make requests to the device. I'm not a fan of that. If Trezor here could just give me QR codes, I'd be much happier with this device. And I do share your sentiment around like the open source, the new secure element. It's like, let's see how it goes in the market for a little bit, see how it is after it's been battle tested, and maybe it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want those QR codes, they're going to have to probably give you a bigger screen and a camera in the back. They might need to make it look a little bit like a BlackBerry. That might be with a full keyboard.
Oh, that would be so handy. Of these that I always have beside me. I don't even intend to. I just use them all the time.
Nonetheless, I will say Trezor, I've, especially their newer devices, I've thought that they're pretty good. And so usually, like, if somebody's using a Trezor, I'll tell them, you're probably good, especially the newer ones with secure elements.
Yep.
Again, I can't vouch for like the newly next gen secure chip that they made, but time will tell.
I've used them in multi-vendor multi-sigs several times. They're a great option for part of a multi-sig.
That's true. That's true. In the context of a multi-sig, like even if you have something wrong with one of the devices, it still mitigates that risk because the wallet is it's not the whole thing. Now, in something that I would say that both of us will be less excited about, introducing Ledger Nano Gen 5 that just came out. So where I don't know, like I haven't got my hands on it. It seems like it's a version of like the Ledger
Flex,
I think, like a smaller, cheaper version of that. I did do a video on the Flex, not a massive fan of it. These, you can't even do really Bitcoin only firmware. So it's clearly, I'm not the market. In their marketing for it, like as you're looking at pictures, it's like literal NFTs on the screen. So you can see them. So like, the one thing, okay, if I'm to give props are due, I like the backup thing that they created. And what this is I think it's like an NFC tap card that is literally just a backup encrypted version, pin protected of your seed. So you can still write your seed and keep it safe somewhere, but you can also have like this NFC version of your backup that is pin protected. So what that accomplishes is if your device craps out or gets wiped or whatever, and you don't want like the plain seed phrase just sitting out in the open, this is a solution for that. So you can kind of like, it seems like you could tap, put in a pin and recover that way. So that's kind of neat. I think that's neat. The NFT on the screen, not so neat.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. To give credit where credit's due, like make no mistake. Like if you're using a ledger, you're probably fine, right? You're probably fine. And additionally, this is way better than being on an exchange still, like way better than leaving your coins with a custodian or leaving them on the exchange. The other thing that I could say really nice about the Ledger Nano Gen 5 is that the animation team behind that little ad clip, phenomenal. That was great. That looked wonderful. It was very bright and colorful. I was a big fan of that. That's about where I'm at.
Yeah. Can we hire those people?
I want those animators for my videos. That's great.
Can we get one of those? Yeah. Okay. Now back to something I'm actually very excited about. Let's jump to this. The Bull Bitcoin mobile app is awesome.
Yep.
I've been playing around with it. I just finished recording a tutorial for it, which I plan on dropping on Monday, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe because then you can make sure you get a notification for that video. It's awesome. It is super, super awesome. So they've got a hot wallet. Basically what they have is like an instant payments, which is Lightning Liquid swap, basically layer 2. You can send and receive quickly and cheaply. They have on-chain Bitcoin. You can swap between the two wallets, but they also have the ability to import your cold card queue and manage cold storage from the wallet. And also I'm in developer mode. So I saw a teaser of all of the different hardware that they're supporting. Like in the video, I didn't show it because I was on a different phone. I was like, where's all the other ones that I saw? Oh, I'm in developer mode. Okay. So nonetheless, cold card queue now supported, many others going to be supported very shortly. And I won't say exactly what, but a whole bunch of different things. Here's the cool thing. They actually have the exchange and the wallet in one. And so what you can feasibly do, because obviously Bull, they don't hold your Bitcoin. And so when you hit buy, it actually just goes directly to whatever wallet you designate, instant payments or your cold card or on-chain, whatever you say, and it'll go straight there the second you hit buy. And furthermore, one of the coolest things is you can set the wallet so it has instant transfers. And what this means is, let's say you've been, and again, to be clear, like if you're in a jurisdiction that doesn't have Bull as an exchange, the wallet itself is just good. And so the way it would work is wherever you're stacking sats from, you stack into your instant payments, you do your Lightning. As that balance grows, it's actually sitting in liquid. So lower fees, UTXO bloat is not an issue. So you don't need to really worry about UTXO management, but you set an auto transfer in the background so that when your instant payment balance gets to a certain threshold, it auto transfers over to your cold storage. And so this helps you in two ways. Number one, your fee burden. You don't have a bunch of tiny UTXOs because they're all sitting in liquid. When you do that swap, it's one giant UTXO into your cold storage. Furthermore, the swap function that happens in between is also privacy preserving because all of the payments that came in were liquid payments, which on chain you can't see the amount. And furthermore, when you do the swap, there's no, other than like bolts, there's no direct linkage between the liquid funds that went out and the on-chain funds that came into your cold card. So like they've really thought this through, even just as a wallet interface is badass. So I love it. Nathan, have you been playing with it?
I have. In fact, I've actually used it already, even to make credit card payments. So I tied into the exchange in the background, and I'm going from my Bull app and paying off a credit card. Like it's absolutely phenomenal. And I was hanging out with the team while in Montreal there at the Canadian Bitcoin conference. And two things: one, there's even more stuff they've planned that they're going to roll out on this thing. I know they're already looking at integrating ARC as well too.
Yes.
Additionally, so I'm gonna make the weirdest analogy possible, but just stay with me for a second, okay? You remember in like 1940s Germany, where like the country got behind that evil mustache man, and they had these big rallies, and everyone's getting fired up, and it's like, how could people possibly do that? It's like, I totally get it, because Francis on stage, oh my god, he was talking about world domination for Bull Bitcoin. He was laying out all the places that they currently are and where they're going. So if you don't have them as an exchange yet, good chance you'll have them in the future. But he was just so on fire. He's so pumped. Not only that, too, there's also, so Liquid Lightning already has the kind of privacy aspect, but they built PayJoin, asynchronous PayJoin right into the app as well, too. They're building the tools so that we can overthrow those corrupt governments that we were talking about earlier. And they're not hedging their bets at all. And so it was phenomenal to hear their excitement about this. Really felt pumped up on their mission of world domination. And yeah, it's another one that's gonna be part of my regular rotation now, because I can integrate my cold card right to Liquid and Lightning, and that's phenomenal.
Hilarious side note on the on like the Francis like getting up in front of a crowd and the the mustache man analogy there. Early on, so I worked at Bull Bitcoin for like a year and a bit, like helping them with some marketing and education stuff, and we're shooting around ideas. At one point, Francis was like, "Yeah, like we're kind of like." Like the plebs in the trenches, like fighting the war, kind of, like the Taliban in the hills, like blah, blah, blah. And he's going on. And then after a minute, he's like, maybe we don't compare ourselves to the Taliban in marketing materials. But either way, I got the sentiment. I understand what he meant.
We're the rebels from Star Wars. We're the good guys. That's it. I swear. Going up against the Empire.
Yeah, exactly. Now, he also did a tweet. He said, not all open source is the same. In addition to being MIT licensed and openly committing on GitHub, Bull also publishes its sprints roadmap with issues and discussions. So the entire dev process is transparent and anyone can contribute. And it shows somebody who tweeted out all the screenshots of all the commits and everything that's going on. Pretty wild. They've done a lot of work on this. So I'm super keen, and everybody should check out the app. Go ahead, download it.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Now there's been we've been talking about privacy stuff on here lately, and interesting developments here. We have Elon Musk saying, I don't trust Signal anymore because Signal was down during the AWS outage, if I'm not mistaken, the Amazon web server. So for the uninitiated, Nathan, would you care to speculate on as to why would Elon Musk not trust Signal anymore if it was down during an AWS outage?
Well, that would mean that everything is basically going through a centralized hub controlled by Amazon. And furthermore, I remember having a wonderful conversation with Matt Hill from Start9 about this too, where even if they make the software open source, when you're installing it on your phone, you can't do it yourself, right? So you're still trusting the instance that's actually on your phone. You can't verify that it is in fact what you were viewing previously.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how to feel about this. That said, if anything, spurring people into creating more privacy tools is not a bad thing, because then Elon Musk, X chat, the messages are fully encrypted with no advertising hooks or strange AWS dependencies, such that I can't read your message even if someone put a gun to my head. You can also do file transfers and audio video calls, which is pretty cool. So I'm pretty keen on the fact that this exists. And if signal going out during an AWS outage is what it took for this to, I mean, obviously this has been in development for a while, but nonetheless, I'm happy to see it come to fruition. However, it's worth noting, just to play devil's advocate here, this is a tweet from Nikita Beer, and she is head of product at X. Also, advisor at Solana. Come on.
Oh, Lord.
When you read content on X, you should be able to verify its authenticity. Okay, fair. This is critical to getting a pulse on important issues happening in the world. As part of that, we're experimenting with displaying new information on profiles, including which country an account is based, among other details. Starting next week, we will surface this on a handful of profiles of X team members to get feedback. So, I mean, some people are not going to be fans of showing what country. Like, this is just like a privacy problem. And I think rather than solving it with, you know, an oracle saying this person is actually in this area or whatever, I think that something like Noster with like a digital, like a self-composed digital identity, of which you can have many for different purposes and burn them if you don't want to use them anymore. Something like that, where you're literally signing something in an irrefutable way with your private key. I think that's the solution we actually need instead of Panopticon.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, the biggest issue I see here is that it's mild, but it's still doxing, right? And the rules and regulations and the government response to content that you're putting online could be very different depending on what geographical region that you're in. And it just goes back to, like, there's always gonna be trade-offs with privacy, but it's still something we should advocate for and fight for, in the sense that, and even relating back to the CBDC, it's like, you have to vet the content for yourself, right? You can't push the responsibility of, like, should I trust this account? Should I not trust that account? You can't push it to somebody else. You have to take that on, assess the information, try and find other sources if you're curious about it as well too. Because I can see this being a real issue for human rights activists and just government dissidents in general.
100%. And again, we just need to explore all the tools available to us, and hope that you know, or if we're able to build ourselves, you know, build things where there's a gap in the market. And you know, I see a great guy named Jeff. He's working on white noise over Noster. There's I'm trying to remember the name of it. I want to say it starts with an S. Another private message, SimpleX. Yeah, Matrix is another one. So there's options out there. We just need to be aware and you know, use the right tool for the job. Now, we're going to change gear a little bit here, but we're going to do kind of a lightning round of Canada Sucks. I'm a little shy on time, but I think it's important for Nathan because it's his favorite part of the show. So, Nathan, I'm going to give you a lightning round, and I'm going to pull up a few things, and I want you to tell me why this means that Canada sucks in each one. So, first, I'm going to drop this nugget on you. What is this, Nathan?
This one is amazing. So because of a court ruling in BC, they basically determined that some, like, commercial land that was owned, I think Amazon warehouses were even on some of it. You know, the whole, like, in Canada, we do a whole bunch of the stupid land acknowledgement things, like, I'm sorry for being Canadian and stealing the natives' land. Well, some of those natives got together and said, you stole our land, give it back. And so the property rights over this commercial area actually was ruled to be the tribes, and people lost their spot there. Now, this is still in the appeals court, but the ruling and I guess the claims goes beyond that. So homeowners in BC are basically getting letters saying like, hey, your title might not actually be valid. That actually might belong to this tribe here. So imagine paying your mortgage for 30 years. It already sucked. You had to do property taxes, but it turns out you don't even get to keep your home. And so a bunch of this went out. I even saw some other tweets showing that like something like 80% of the land in BC is up for grabs. So property rights in Canada were already bad enough. They're dead in the water if this doesn't lose on appeal.
Wild. And we got to give a shout out to our friends over the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. They covered this in depth on their show a couple of days ago. So if you're unfamiliar with them, hop over Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. It was just a couple days ago. Len and Joey, shout out to them. So next up, Nathan, this is a fun one about the CRA, which is our Canada Revenue Agency, our tax agency. What's going on here?
So this is great because when they make a mistake, you're the one who's going to get in trouble for it. So there was an audit done on the CRA, like kind of telephone customer support line, and they found that the customer support, if you call in, I have questions. I'm trying to like adhere to your rules and regulations. I'm trying to like let you bend me over a barrel and steal my money. What amount do I have to get? What do I have to report? The CRA customer support line only got the tax information that they shared with people right 17% of the time, right? Less than 1 out of 5. Which is absolutely ridiculous because if you screw up in your taxes, even though you got information from them, it's still going to be your problem.
Fun. So, I mean, there's a skit I saw once online where it's a guy with an Arabic accent and he's talking to like somebody from the tax office and he's like, they're like, hey, you owe us money. He's like, okay, well, how much? And they're like, we don't know. You gotta run the numbers. He's like,
Yes.
well, what numbers? I don't know. Like, well, we don't know. And he's like, okay, well, I don't owe you anything. And they're like, oh, yes, you do. And like, well, what if I'm wrong? You go to jail. Okay. It's like, okay, well, I didn't make any money last year. They're like, yeah, you did. You got paid in cash. He's like, how do you know that? We have tools for that. He's like, oh, so you do know how much I owe? No, we don't. Anyways, yeah, it's hilarious. So, more.
This is why they want the CBDC, by the way. It's the easy tax audit as well, too. Like it's absolutely ridiculous.
100%. So some more debanking CTV news. Here's why you could be debanked by your financial institution. Just a fun tidbit of news happening through the CTV. Again, this tweet, expect lots of people to be debanked shortly in Canada. Media is warming up for it. Generally, banks do not need to tell you why they debank you. Normally, they provide 30 days notice. Sometimes they provide none. Prepare accordingly. Actually, the attorney that cross-examined Justin Trudeau after the trucker protest, she got debanked by Royal Bank of Canada for buying Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah, she was like, why are you questioning me? They're like, this is my money. I want to buy it. And I find your questions to be ridiculous. Like, you know who this is. I'm not being scammed. I've already told you this. Like, this is really draconian. And then they sent her a letter. They're like, we've determined we can no longer offer your services. Like, go fuck yourselves. And on that note, shout out to sponsor of the Bitcoin Mentor or the Mentor Sessions pod, Bow Valley Credit Union here in Alberta, because they don't suck and they will bank Bitcoiners, which is great. And then I wanted to do one more tidbit here.
Oh yeah,
this is fun. This is a couple fun things out of BC. Alberta is the freedom capital of Canada, but BC seemingly different. What's going on here?
So we basically have that the BC is instituting rules based on how much energy they can give to AI data centers and have moved to permanently ban new crypto mining projects, meaning that the existing ones are fun, but no new Bitcoin mining can happen within BC, which is, again, absolutely ridiculous for anyone who has an understanding of how the energy grid works, that we want more energy, that it's not competing, it's taking basically cheap stuff that's not being used or introducing, even for you BC people, it could be green energy. We could do nuclear. Nuclear would be great. We could do solar, whatever. You got tons of BC hydro. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. But because they just have basically a stick up their ass, they're saying no more Bitcoin mining in BC. Fine, come to Alberta. Let's burn coal and take it all.
Nice. This is how Quebec shot themselves in the foot too.
Yep, same thing.
They had a ton of Bitcoin mining there. In fact, Blockstream was mining a ton of Bitcoin there, and then they started screwing around like this, and all the miners just were like, okay, we're going to move to different jurisdictions because it's too uncertain here. So they packed up and left. And like Quebec's in a position where they're literally like paying New York State to take excess electricity. Meanwhile, they were making money from miners, paying them for the excess electricity that they couldn't offload before. So it's just unbelievable, the idiocy of some of these policies. But here we are. Now, Nathan, I want to tee this up for you because you seemed very passionate about it. I don't share your passion, but what are you happy about here?
We have knickknacks on looking to accept Bitcoin for their wonderful nicotine products. All those wonderful nicotine merchants, nicotine dealers out there. Yes, as a fan of such products, I would love to see more pouches, more lozenges offering their goods for Bitcoin. This is exactly what we need. This is what powers me to get through edits. This is what powers me for this show. I'm not kidding. There's a bunch behind the scenes here. I'll do one on camera quick. That might be full of stuff right there. But I would love to see more merchant adoption, particularly in those wonderful nicotine dealers.
Amazing. Amazing. And to close out, I want to bestow this upon everybody watching the show. Another reason to subscribe. We're very excited about this show that is coming out on Sunday. If you're unfamiliar with Larry Lepard, who else we got? We've got
Gary Leland.
We've got Bob Burnett, and we've got a special guest that you'll see in a second here. But we have the first episode of Bitcoin Boomers dropping on Sunday. And here is your preview.
Bitcoin is so important right now. We cannot let it fail.
I just don't want to get in the position my father was in. He had money, but by the time he passed, it really gotten whittled away by inflation.
When AI causes the job displacement, we start seeing these extreme actions to try to save the economy.
Then, holy hell happens. And are they going to have to come up with this minimum payment to people so they don't burn down the country? I mean, what are we going to do? This is going to go nuts, and people are not prepared for this.
The entire world is waking up to what we've known for some time. You know, if you pay $125 for it, I think in a few years you'll be very glad you did.
George, speaking of consensus, kind of makes me think of like core versus not.
Are you just trying to launch Jethro? Bitcoin.
It's going to be fantastic. I've watched the episode before it launches. Those guys are just so great. I'm so excited for this to drop, and it'll be a monthly thing. So yeah. And I mean, George Bodine is like the perfect first boomer guest. He is excellent. He's literally a Top Gun graduate. First of all, Top Gun is a real thing. Second of all, George did it. So if that doesn't make you want to watch the video,
dude, he has more takeoffs than landings as well too. That dude even put one of these things in the ground and walked away. Wild.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna round out here. Awesome episode. Really enjoyed this. Again, all of the news and all of the updates are fantastic, but please do take the additional steps, especially those of you new here that are just kind of dipping into the Bitcoin space and you need to get your feet underneath you and begin to understand. We have the resources. We have step-by-step free tutorials for everything. And if you need additional hand-holding, of course, we've got our team at Bitcoin Mentor. I always end the episode playing our little spiel of where to check us out, but of course btcsessions.ca/learn, and there'll be a QR code on the screen momentarily that you can also scan and bookmark. So with that, we're out of here. I'm Ben, this is Nathan, and this was your weekly session. We'll see you guys again. Check out Boomers on Sunday. Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.